It takes an absolute fortune to be an online reseller on eBay or Poshmark or Amazon. You have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to start reselling today on the internet. Is that true? Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the channel. It is Saturday, January 13th, 2024, and I want to address this topic because it gets asked a lot. How much money do I spend every month on buying inventory to be a reseller? How much money do you need to get started reselling on somewhere like eBay or Poshmark or even Amazon for that matter? And the comment that I get a lot, or the fear that I get a lot from people who are not sellers or who are brand new, is that it takes a ton of money. It takes thousands and thousands of dollars to get started. And that's simply not true. So most of the resellers that we know, most of the resellers I'm friends with or go to conferences with, got started with a couple of $100s, which is absolutely reasonable. Are you going to get rich and are you going to make a ton of money if you only have a little bit to start? Well, no. The answer is no. You have to buy inventory to get rich. You have to buy lots of inventory and sell lots of inventory. You have to build to that. So you're not just going to start today and start making $100,000 tomorrow. It takes time and it takes investment. You got to spend money to make money. So let me give you guys a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of people in this community that will vouch for this. Even this pallet of remotes that I bought only cost me like $800 or $850. Seems like a lot of money to some people, but you can go to thrift stores and garage sales and estate sales and pick up individual remotes for 50 cents and $1 because you spot them and you know that from my videos, hey, that might be a $15 or $20 remote. Let me grab it for $1. And then you go to another thrift store and you start digging out shirts that you find that you have been looking up on eBay, and you've been finding, even these reproduction or vintage, Toon Squad, MVP, Looney Tunes, Space Jam shirts, and you're like, hey, that thing's $3, and I could probably get 25 or 30 bucks, even though it's a mid 2000s, and if it's real, maybe I can get 50 bucks or 100 bucks. You start, finding these items. I'll give you another one. This classic Harley book was $1, and this thing sells for like 25 bucks generally, depending on what platform you get it on. So you start spotting these items and you buy them for $1 and $2 and $3, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you've spent 50, 60, 70, 100 bucks, and you have an entire inventory. You have 30, 40, 50 items that are worth $800, $1,000, $1,200, 20, 25 bucks a piece, and you bought 40 items or 50 items, and you have over $1,000 in inventory, and you start selling it, and all of a sudden, you have sold, in a couple of weeks, you've sold half of it. You've sold a quarter of it. You've sold 400. You've sold 500 bucks. And now your $100 is turned into $400 or $500, but you still have inventory. So you're going to take that $100, $200 back in and invest it in more money and build and build. And so the story goes reinvestment. Anybody who tells you it takes tons of money to start with reselling is lying to you. You don't have to have tons of money. If you have capital and you're able to build faster, that's fantastic. But if you don't, you can start with 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 150 bucks, which most of you should be able to invest. And then you can go and start buying this inventory and building it. Don't expect to get rich overnight. Don't quit your full-time job, but build a few $100s in your first month. Make a goal for the second month to be $500, $600, $800. Make a goal for the third month to be $1,000. And before you know it, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months later, you got a business producing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, and you could start talking about full-time income and what you want to do with your future or your job or anything like that. The other question that comes along with this is, besides the inventory, besides what we purchase, what other stuff do you have to start reselling? Because it takes a ton of money and equipment and other stuff. Let me address that in one more second. There's really only 3 pieces of equipment that you have to be an online reseller to work from home. And the first one is super cheap. You absolutely need a scale to be able to weigh your items and do correct shipping. You could pick these scales up. There's one linked in the bottom of this video or somewhere on my profiles. You can pick this scale up for like 15 to 20 bucks. So really not much investment at all. Second, you need a printer to print your labels. You need to print labels at home because it's much cheaper than walking into the USPS and buying your labels. You'll save a ton of money. In fact, just over the course of, I believe the math, if you're saving $2 or $3 per label, you only need to ship like 30, 40 items, not that many, and you could pay for a $99 thermal printer. You can get them even a little cheaper, but this printer to print your shipping labels at home, $100, right? Not this exact one, but one's just like it, linked below. You can get them for $100. Sometimes I see them for $80, $90. So together, you should be able to get these two items for $100 or less, $125, worst case scenario. Third item that you have to have in order to do the shipping at home, you can get a lot of free supplies from the USPS, like priority padded flat rate and flat rate boxes and flat rate envelopes. Those are all free. But a lot of us do Ground Advantage, which is generally the cheapest for shipping lightweight items. You have to ship those in your own boxes or envelopes. So you need stuff like bubble mailers. You need stuff like regular envelopes, depending on what you're shipping. You need stuff like poly mailers that are like this, but without the bubble, a little bit cheaper. You need stuff basic, depending on what you're shipping. If you need to protect it, you may not need. If you're doing clothing, you don't need bubble wrap, but some basic shipping supplies. If you start an eBay store, you will get free coupons to buy some of this with, but you can buy small batches of these envelopes, poly mailers, bubble wrap. You can get a box of each for like 30 bucks, 20 bucks, right? You don't need that many when you're starting off. You're not going to be shipping 100 items a week or 200 items a week. You could buy a box of 100 at 25 cents a piece, $25, and that 100 will last you all month or maybe even longer, right? Hopefully we sell quicker, but you can get some boxes. So all in, all the materials that you need, and you can even pick up a cheap tape gun. Highly recommended, but you don't have to have it. But these three items, the printer, right there, the printer, the scale, and some basic shipping supplies, even with a tape gun, probably in the 175 to 200 range. 200 bucks should be the absolute max you spend on all of it to get started. You don't need a light kit. Your phone takes perfectly good photos, and you can do a white background on Photo Room or the free apps. Don't need light kit to get started. You can get one later if you want. Don't have to have it. However, you can buy the little linked one that I put down below. That one's like $15. You should never spend more than $200. Go spend 100 to 200 on inventory, 200 on this stuff, 300-400 bucks. You are in business. You don't need thousands of dollars. There's not a lot of businesses you can start with your phone and your computer and some basic stuff for 300 bucks, right? You could do it for 200 if you wanted. You could really go cheap and get 100 and 100 in inventory. You want to put as much towards the inventory as you possibly can because that's where you're going to make your money, and then you can start buying better equipment as you go. But maximum $300 to $400 will start a reselling business and get you rolling, and reinvest it the following month. Make your $300-400 bucks and reinvest it. Then you don't have to buy this stuff again. It can all go into inventory, and you can build your business from there. So next time somebody tells you it takes a ton of money to be a reseller and invest in inventory and invest in your business, tell them they're a liar. You can get started for less than 300 bucks, 400 max, and you're off and running. If there's any other questions, anything I missed or anything that I forgot, this is of course for new sellers, beginners, things like that. Hopefully you guys get the idea and you can get rolling. And if you're scared and you've never sold or you're trying to be a new seller, this will give you the motivation to jump out there and do it, because you don't need a ton of money and you don't have to go bankrupt and you don't have to take loans. You don't have to max out credit cards. You can do it with just a little bit of investment in your business, and you'll be off and a reseller tomorrow. All right, as always, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone next time.